It's not quite a suit. No, it doesn't work that way.
I'm live in Frankfurt with Rebecca Emory. She's a partner at White Case, a global law firm.
So we work with clients in the automotive industry, in the real estate sector. So maybe starting back on why I specialized on capital markets, we write a lot of prospectuses, the financials, the industry, the risk factors. Investors then will make an investment decision on this document.
Were there certain pivotal moments and also decisions that...
And switching from an English law firm to a US law firm. But then I figured that is a fantastic asset.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode on Female Empowerment, the podcast. I'm thrilled to be live in Frankfurt with Rebecca Emory. She's a partner at White Case, a global law firm. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
And I'll start right away with the first question, because I do think it really shapes and influences us who we are, or who influenced and shaped us when we were young. So my question is, becoming the woman you are today, what made and shaped you? What made you into the successful woman that you are today?
I definitely think my family. My mom started working again when I was 3. She's always been a working mom. She takes a lot of pride. She was a social worker, so not what I do. She always tells me she doesn't know how I became a lawyer. And then my dad, who always told, it's just me and my sister, to do whatever you want, become whoever you want to become, and I will support you. And I think I've had quite a bit of luck in life to always have people in my life that want me to succeed and always want me to do better and do something that I want to do.
Would you also say that kind of gave you the confidence to pursue, really, even though it might seem challenging at some times, that the confidence that your parents gave you, that it helped?
Absolutely, absolutely. Although I did always wanted to be a lawyer ever since second grade. I've always told my parents I want to be a lawyer.
So it's actually true that people who become lawyers, they know really early on in their life that they want to be a lawyer.
I think some do.
Yeah.
My sister went through, wanting to be a vet and a fashion designer and everything that, young girls may want to do. Yeah. I've always said lawyer.
You stuck to your goal.
Yeah, it's
pretty interesting. As I mentioned before, you're a partner at White Case, a global law firm, international, high-demanding field in capital market law that you're active in. Can you tell us more about that? Like, how do you cope with this field, and why also did you specialize in it?
So maybe starting back on why I specialized on capital markets, I initially, when I started law school, I wanted to do human rights, international human rights law. My goal was being at the UN in New York and just, working for the UN. I think a lot of people, when they have these ideologies, that's like the main goal. And I had the opportunity in law school to go to Africa and spend 3 months in Sierra Leone at the special court. Great opportunity, could really work with the judges there. But the work I actually did on a day-to-day basis didn't fulfill me. I came back to New York, came back to my professor and said, I don't know what to do with my life, because everything that I thought I ever wanted to do is not what I wanted to do. And I started taking courses, and one of them was a corporations class and a securities class. And I absolutely loved it. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll shift a little. And I started looking at law firms and did a summer at a different law firm, and then decided to go into the field of securities. So with just capital markets, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in fact, that's often we have this feeling that our lives can be crushed if something doesn't turn out the way we thought it would, but then we turn slightly and then we find the right or what we're looking for. Yeah.
I think sometimes it's even most important to find out what you don't want compared to search always what you want. And those moments in life really shape then what is your next move, or what are you going to try next?
It's not the end of the world.
No.
You made not the wrong decision, but it's just not the path you initially thought it was. Yeah,
exactly.
Thank you for mentioning it, because sometimes as I mentioned, it can really crush people. Now, going back to when you, in 2017, you became partner, or you made partner at White Case, and were there certain pivotal moments and also decisions that, opened your way to this position?
I mean, I think my first pivotal moment was coming back to Europe. So right after law school, Lehman crashed. Everything was very difficult in New York, and I decided to come back to Europe. My parents still live here. I speak fluent German. I know my way around Germany and know the culture. Hadn't been here in 10 years, and
it can change, right?
It can change. Yeah. And coming back here, and the first thing the partner that I was working for said, "Oh, I think you need to go back to business school in Germany and learn how to properly speak German again."
Oh,
I always thought that I could speak fluent German, but for the business world, my level of German was on the level of a 16-year-old.
okay.
So the first, 6 months, I really worked on, having my emails checked by my PA and making sure that my language, not only in English, which is obviously fine, but also in German was proper.
Yeah.
So that was a reality check, let's put it this way. But then I figured that being bilingual in German and being able to understand and explain complex legal issues in both languages is a fantastic asset. And everyone needs US lawyers in Germany, especially in capital markets. So that was quite a good, let's say, boost for me. And then I think the next pivotal moment was the change in law firms. So I was an associate at an English law firm and then became a local partner at White Case. And switching from an English law firm to a US law firm made a huge difference for me. Yeah.
The working culture is different.
Very different. Yeah. Not that it's better or worse. I think it's just a cultural better fit for someone who'd spent 10 years in the US before.
Yeah. Fascinating. Really fascinating. Going back to, I want to know more about the cases and how you work. Is there, could you give us like an example of what a day, I would say a day in the life of a lawyer at White Case looks like, or what your day looks like?
So it's very different from when I first started working to what I do now. So when an associate first starts, maybe I'll start there and then I'll move to what I do now. You basically wait for an instruction. Someone says, a partner says, "We got a new deal in. Can you dial into a kickoff call? We start a deal." You work. So we write a lot of prospectuses, they're called.
Okay.
They're big documents about a company. So investors then will get to read the document and then make an investment decision on this document. So you get to write about the business, the financials, the industry, the risk factors.
How big can these get?
400 pages.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So for juniors, they do a lot of diligence so they can write these prospectuses, and then the partner reviews and makes comments. And then we obviously have some agreements and negotiations. Now my work is a lot of hand-holding, and I would say I kind of work at the call center because I'm always on the phone, constantly on the phone. I don't really work that much on the documents unless it's a specific situation, but I talk a lot. So clients call, they want advice. A lot of clients that come, to the market for the first time, I think they just want reassurance that there is someone by their side that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of psychology that comes into play next to the, law part.
I never thought of it this way. I mean, this psychology part of everything, but it's fascinating. And what you said also is true, that if very often they need someone who is at their side and kind of also gives them reassurance. Yeah. So very fascinating, but I didn't know that these, how did you call them? These,
call center?
No.
What?
The
prospectuses.
Prospectuses that can get like 400 pages long. Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did one capital increase, I think, in 2011. That was, I think, 1,100 pages. So yeah, they can.
And I thought seeing the German law books were heavy enough or thick enough, you could say. Well, has there ever been a case that you found challenging at the beginning that really pushed you as a lawyer also? And now looking back, you were like, yeah, it really made me a better lawyer. Like a specific case or also deal?
Many. I feel everyone is very unique. I did work for one when I was a junior for a year and a half, same client. And it was like probably 7 or 8 deals. But every time it presented with a lot of different challenges.
Okay.
And then it depends on the industry. So we work with clients in the automotive industry, obviously right now, very difficult.
Yeah.
We worked with a lot of clients in the real estate sector, and real estate, you had this big bubble and everything was great, and all of a sudden it crashes, and you have all kinds of different situations that you need to think of. We have clients that, then had to be restructured or went into insolvency, very new subjects. So for me, it's always like every deal has unique aspects and challenges, and then you grow. So even right now, we just finished a deal that unfortunately didn't price, so I can't talk about it publicly yet, but very new, different challenges working with a family office and, family interests, which is very different than working with a private equity house, very different emotional connections that you make.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned deals and also the pressure, I could say, or high demanding part of it. Have you been part of, I can imagine you've been part of pretty big negotiations also. Do you have a certain advice or guidances on how to negotiate and, well, how to work under pressure, I would say?
You need to be resilient, I would say, and stay calm. One partner that I've worked with, and he always said that his mentor, when everything got really chaotic and everything was just loud and everyone was just shouting, he would start to whisper.
Oh, that's
because people start then, oh, what is he saying?
Yeah.
Well, I need to be quiet, so listen.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever tried that, but staying calm and not getting too emotional. And especially for women, I remember when I was a junior, you write something and I feel very territorial about what I write.
Yeah.
And then if someone marks it up, I'm like, oh, you didn't like my writing or something.
We've all been there.
Yeah, right. But then you grow and you say, just mark it up the way you want, and we'll get to the important stuff, and then really negotiate the big points.
Yeah.
But really just emotionally detaching yourself and just staying calm in situations.
Detaching in the sense of like also, I mean, because you have a specific goal in mind, and to also be okay if you don't meet it, or just have like a neutral emotional position.
Yeah, I mean, it's always taking myself out of it. It's not me. It's I need to get the best for my client. It's not about what I personally want, but what my client needs or wants. And the nice thing about capital markets is it's not like a litigation. You don't have a winner and a loser.
Okay.
You have, some better terms, or, the risk allocation is more towards the investment bank or the company, but you don't lose a position in a sense.
Okay.
So it's one of the things I like about the field. It's very collaborative.
So more compromising, one could
Exactly.
say. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, I would say I have another few questions, and they're more focused also on your our mentorship and advice, but also on risk taking. I'll pick the risk taking first, because I do think in life you have to take a few risks in order to succeed. We don't have to go as far as certain people like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg. Not everybody has to take those risks. But has there ever been a step you took that was risky at first, but it really like a pivotal moment that changed your career for the good?
I think moving back to Europe, I think is the biggest risk I took.
We're on the same page with that.
Yes.
I was in 2018 when I decided, everyone thought I was crazy because I broke off my studies, and then I continued and I graduated here as well. And it was such a good decision to do, even though you don't see the path. I made my path. You certainly made your path, your career and everything. So in that sense, you would say it was a bold move, but looking back, you're very happy that you did.
Yes, absolutely very happy. And I think the second one, starting a family in this crazy career environment, was definitely also a bold move. We don't have many female role models. We didn't have anyone in the firm really that had kids and was, a successful female partner in Germany. So, but just doing it and saying it will be okay and we'll figure it out. And,
proving it,
turned out well. So
so many women say that on our podcast, and I'm so happy that they do, because as you mentioned, sometimes there are no role models, and we need them to say and to show you can have both. I just remember this week I was in Strasbourg and I interviewed a member of the European Parliament, Stine Bosse, and she also has been a successful business manager in Denmark. And she said she had kids at university, even before she started her career, because she was like, do that. If you want to have kids, do it really at the beginning. I mean, of course, this is an individual choice, but so many women prove that out there. And I'm thank you for mentioning
it. I always say either do it very early or later in life. It's hard to do. And
there will never be a right moment.
Yeah, I have a mentee who did it exactly the way where I tell people don't do it this way, and she's fantastic and she's great, so I can tell you about her in a bit. But so I decided I want to make partner before I have kids because I don't want anyone to have an excuse why I can't make partner.
Okay.
So I made partner in 2017. My first daughter was born in May of 2018.
Say again. You became partner at the beginning of 2008. 17, yes.
And then became partner, and then had a baby in May of 2018.
Good one. I love it. That's what I love when like our guests share about these stories. Thank you.
Yeah.
And also it proves you can have both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, how do you balance your professional life, your career, and also your personal life?
So you can't really see the career or the what we do as a job. So it has to be, a passion.
Yeah.
And if it's a passion, you integrate it into your life.
Can you just close? How do you shut down? No, you don't say shut down. Just distance yourself from your work life when you're at home. Is that
no? It's completely integrated.
Yeah.
Because we talk. So I'm also married, not married, but I'm with another lawyer. So
okay.
Yeah. But it's like we talk about strategy, about teams, about, it's not like you talk about an individual deal.
Okay.
But it's more about, making it better, and it really is fun for us to talk about. So
you share.
Yeah. And then this morning we had to move our appointment because my 6-year-old had a winter concert. So that's why I was like, I need to be.
Yes, of course. Problem, by the way.
Yeah.
When I have an interview planned, I'm like, I'll have a free day because I'm completely focused on the interview. That's really important to me. Yeah.
But so you balance it, and it's completely fine if you tell your clients, like, I'm not going to be there for an hour because I need to be there for my kid, and everyone has it. And I feel like, especially since COVID, it's completely acceptable.
Yeah.
Or if, on weekends I need to do a video conference and you want me to have the video on, my daughter may sit on my lap. It's just how it is. And everyone is completely fine with that.
That is wonderful. Yeah. There are so many aspects that after COVID that changed for the better. And I'm really happy of it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing again. One last question before we move on to a more informal part where we want to get to know you personally a little bit better is, what are your thoughts on mentorship? And do you have advice for people, women or men, who aspire positions, senior positions in law or senior positions in general?
So I think mentorship is very important. You need to have people on your side and in your corner. You can't do it all by yourself because you need people rooting for you. And, it doesn't have to be like a formal mentorship, but just like having someone that you can, just brainstorm or have any ideas. I have 2 mentees at White Case. They happen to be women now, but could be men as well. And, and also sharing the failures that you've had or the doubts you've had, and not just, look where I'm now and how great everything is. But you need to learn also from the mistakes that others have made and say, maybe you don't want to do that. And, share that it's okay to have a bad day or make a mistake.
To have a look behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's, it's not all glory and fun.
Life isn't as a lawyer isn't like Suits, the series portraying.
It's not quite as Suits. You can't just open a document and look at it for 2 minutes and just say, I have the answer. No, it doesn't work that way. But I always say, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you need to pace yourself and need to ensure that you have the energy and stay well. And
for the long run.
In the long run. I mean, we have currently, I think, a 9-year partner track. But, not everyone will make it in 9 years. So for most, it's even longer. So you need to brace yourself.
Yeah. I really like your reference to a marathon. Yeah. I think very often life is a marathon and you just have to...
Well, hopefully it is.
Hopefully. I mean, and you have to choose your sprints, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So thank you very much. That was the deep talk, I often say. And now we're moving on to the more informal part. Mm-hmm. It's in the form of fast question and answer. And my first one is, what is your view on life?
So I have a motto that I've lived by quite a long time. In German, it's called "Träume nicht dein Leben, sondern lebe deinen Traum." So don't, dream your life, live your dream.
Very accurate.
And I think it's a good way to live.
Yeah, thank you. If you could have dinner with any historic person, dinner or coffee or wine or tea, whatever you prefer, which historical person would it be?
So I thought hard about this. It's Ruth Bader Ginsburg is what I came up with.
She is a really impressive figure.
Especially for a female lawyer.
Yeah. How she balanced everything. I watched the movie and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
A hobby you're so good at, it would be your second choice for a career.
Very difficult. I'm not that good, but I recently started playing tennis again, and I would absolutely love to. I founded a team, so we're doing a bit of competitiveness, but not as much. I also always said that I would want to go to cooking school if I didn't become a lawyer. So
cooking, not baking.
Both.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, interesting. So, but you are in your free time, you also cook or bake?
My life partner cooks most, and I bake. Yeah.
Nice. Good combination. Combination there. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Oh God.
I know there's so many.
Yeah.
It's hard to choose.
I think the marathon one was probably the one, you can't always sprint. You need to choose your battles. And I think that was very, very good advice.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
A book you recently read that changed your view on an issue.
I got that question. Like, I haven't read a book in a very long time because I've read so much at work. So I need to pass on that one. I don't know.
That's okay. Maybe a movie.
Oh gosh, I also haven't watched movies.
Okay.
Although we just watched Wolf of Wall Street, but this is not a movie I would pick.
Since I know that your again, what was the name of these thick
prospectuses
at the end of the interview? I'll have the word. When I learned up to 1,000 pages, you're fine. You can pass on this question. What motivates you to keep going on tough days?
My family, definitely my family. You look at the girls,
right?
Yeah. My 6-year-old told me today, he's like, you can leave the classroom because I know you need to go to work so you can make money and buy gummy bears and ketchup. So,
I mean, yeah.
So you go to work to buy gummy bears and ketchup.
Precisely. What's something you believe everyone should try at least once?
So we've been talking at home a lot about longevity, and I love cryo chambers.
I don't know if those.
It's like, in German it's called a Kältekammer. So you go in, it's negative 87 degrees or 110.
Does it have the same effect as ice bathing?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But without the water.
I can't do cold. I can do wet cold. So this is dry cold. Yeah. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I have to try it. I've never tried it.
There's also an oxygen chamber called a hyperbaric oxygen chamber.
Okay.
Also very cool.
Yeah. Stine Bosse just mentioned it in her interview as well. The ice cream. Yes.
See? Yeah. Oh, I mean,
a lot of people.
The Scandinavians, they all go ice bathing. Yeah.
They almost swear on it. So they say it works. If you could master any new skill, which one would it be?
Learning more languages.
Which one would your next?
So I'm debating between what was it? Arabic.
Okay. Wow.
Or Hebrew, maybe. I think those are pretty cool. Chinese, I think, maybe a bit too difficult, but those languages,
very fascinating languages. Complicated?
Yes.
But no, challenging. That's better for phrasing, but very fascinating.
Yeah.
What's the best part of your job?
The impressive and brilliant people I get to work with.
Wow.
My colleagues or clients or other advisors, even other lawyers that you work with, you get to work with very, very impressive people. Very smart, brilliant.
I always say your colleagues are very important, especially if they inspire you.
Yes.
Last but not least, what are you most looking forward to at the moment?
So if you asked me last week, my husband turned 50. I'm probably not allowed to say that for him. But we went on vacation for his birthday, which was fantastic. Yeah. Now, probably just time with family during the holidays. And my 97-year-old grandma's coming. So, I'm very excited to see her.
She's coming from the US?
No, she's coming from northern Germany. So not that far, but
Yeah.
yeah. My sister will come from the US with the kids.
But family time is so important.
Yeah.
I always cherish it when I had they visit me at least once a year, my mother at least. So we really cherish it, and I completely understand. It's like I always say it's the foundation and also the highlight of a life.
Exactly. It's friends and family connections, human connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I've learned a lot in this interview, and it was really interesting to get to know you personally a little bit better. Also, capital markets law and how it works. So thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.